Alright, so came out today and I finally got the headlight brackets mounted. Still think I'm gonna replace the hardware that goes in here to actually adjust the buckets that the headlights sit in after those get powder coated or cleaned up and painted. Most likely sandblasted and powder coated, but all the hardware that goes in here, I'll definitely replace that. I did drill a couple holes to get the intercooler somewhat mounted, so it's mounted to this top plate for now, just temporary. Eventually I'll, like I said, clean this bracket up. Need to weld on a couple tabs, one there, I think one here, so that I could really get this mounted into place. But yeah, these are just threw rib nuts on there. So before, they were like those U-clips that clipped onto the plastic bracket, and they had a little thread on there, so you use those. But figured I had the rib nut tool, so throw them on there, a little bit more secure. But yeah, since these are on now, like I said, I have the wires routed from left to right, or left side and the right side, so those are separated. What I think I'm gonna do next is come out and I'm gonna start trimming some of these wires down the length, and I'll have to keep some for when I split from the parking lights to the side markers. Use the same wire that you cut off and just splice it and run it to the other side. So I can start doing that. I might have left this side a little longer than I needed, but it will allow me to tuck it up there a little bit, try to hide it somewhat. So I'll do those. I'll go on the back. I'll start separating those from driver's side and passenger side, and then start with the sound deadening back there also. Not sure if I'm gonna start adding connectors to it today or not, but I think I could if I wanted to. The one thing I'm gonna have to figure out, well, there's plenty of places. I'm sand this down and put some grounds along the frame. So of course I'll ground the engine block. I might do that on both sides. And then for the lights and everything, I'll have to find another ground for it. So it might be in the same place, like right up in this area. Or maybe, well, maybe not too far back. Probably right in this area right here. I'll throw the grounds, one on both sides. And then we'll go from there. I've also been thinking with the intercooler standing right in front of the radiator like that. When I do the electric fans for the radiator, these will obviously be pullers. So those will be pullers. I think I might put a small fan on the front for a pusher, just to get some more airflow through there. Or, well, I could put them in between, sandwich them in between the radiator and the intercooler, and just have another puller. But we'll see. It's not going to be too big of an opening once the nose goes on, so that's what the air box is for, try to force air into it. So that's also what I was thinking. And then last night, after getting back from Rocky Mountain Race Week, saw quite a few cars with no windshield wipers, so you know what that means. I'm not hooking up the windshield wipers. Nothing's going to be over there. I thought about it, but just the more I looked into it and trying to figure it out with this universal kit, and with the switch and everything that goes on the car, I figured it'd just save me a headache, and no windshield wiper, so I won't worry about running those. All those wires will be probably tucked away and capped off. So what is it? Yeah, all three of these, they'll probably be tucked away, and probably find a way to just run them back on the inside, hide them on the inside. So might run through here, put like a grommet or something there, and run everything back through, so I don't think anything goes through that hole. Could be wrong, but I don't think so. If not, I'll just tuck them away in the fender or something. So that's my plan. And then I was also looking last night. I thought about doing a battery box, but I don't think you need it. I think just a battery tray. I know that looks ugly in there, so that will be covered up.
Hello?
What's up?
Do you stock these?
No. What do you need? What is that?
Just a super common battery.
Yeah, I have it.
Do you?
He's always asking for stuff.
He always got it. Nice camera.
I think so. Oh, thank you. You know he broke the other one. Yeah, but like I was saying, I'll just do a battery tie down there. Of course, I'll sound deaden that and everything. I thought you needed a box, but I think all you need is a tie down with the bracket. So I'll start looking for a battery and a tie down, and then of course I'll probably have to drill a hole through here and ground it to the frame back here, and then run a power, or run the power along this side, and probably through the firewall. I don't know how close I want it to come out of here, so I don't know if I need to run it to something else and have it branch off and go to the starter, or just put a bend in it and run it to the starter out of the firewall. I'll see about that. But then, like I said, obviously it'll be grounded a few places up here, and it'll be grounded in the rear, so not too worried about the grounds. And then in the back, I think I'll throw a small fuse box back there. I think I was looking up online yesterday, and they have a fuse box, like 6 fuses in there already pre-wired. You just need to run the power and the ground to it, and then obviously everything you run off of the relays inside that fuse box, which will probably just be the fans for now. So I have 6 relays wired in, so obviously the 2 back here are the 2 radiator fans, and then if I throw that third pusher fan on the front, I think that should be enough. And then I'll just have 3 spare relays if I wanted to add stuff later on, but can't think of too much I want to add to the car, but you never know. It'd be nice to have those 3 extra ones just in case I needed to add something. I don't think I'll have to add maybe the fuel pump might be ran off of it too, but we'll see about that. But yeah, that's my plans. Like I said, today, just get these cut down in length a little bit, everything roughed into place, get the back wires roughed in, just left to right, and then I think I'll actually come and start doing the all the switches. And I think I might still need to add the windshield wiper switch. So even though I'm not going to run them, I still might. Where's that? Just a little windshield wiper switch. I showed you guys in the last video. I'll still have to install it because I think that's what holds the turn signal lever and the high beam. Be able to push the high beams in. I think it'll need to go back in there, but all the wires obviously won't be ran to anything. So that's the plan. Later on down the road, if I did want to add windshield wipers, I'm sure I could tear back into the wiring and figure it out. But for now, no wipers. But yeah, let me put the camera down. I'll start cutting these down the length a little bit. Same thing with this side, and start on the back. Once I get those cut down, I'll cut you guys back on and then start on all the switches. Alright, so I started separating everything. I got both sides cut down to about where they're gonna be. I left a little bit of extra wire just for movement and stuff, so nothing was real tight. And then I started actually splitting the wires off. So the high beam is going to tie into the high beam, obviously, and then it splits off and also ties into the low beam. The same thing with the side markers and the turn signals. So cut these, and I had some of the extra wire, and I branched it off. So I think I mentioned it was Brothers Trucks and Parts. Their YouTube channel, they had some wiring tips and everything. It's a pretty good video, about 35 minutes long, and they show you a trick on splicing wire into each other. So you'll take I might set the camera down and do one. My soldering's not the best, so I might skip that part. But you just take the wire, or I'll show you guys now on it. Let's see. You need 2 pieces of wire, so let's cut that one. And you can strip that one off. And then on the second one, you don't want to do it right at the edge. You want to come back here a little bit and just separate the sleeve from it. I might have been a little, usually do a little bit more, but you want to get about 1 inch cut, and then slice a little protection, run the wires. You slice that in half. You don't want to cut any of the wires on the inside, so just slice that open. Get that coating off of it. You want to separate these a little bit. So there's a gap. So you'll have wires on each side, and the wire you took that you're going to splice into, wrap that up a little bit. Usually you'd put heat shrink on there, so the side that's going to stay on there, just slip the heat shrink over, and the opposite one, you put the other wire in there, close that one up, twist them up. Then you just solder in here, throw the heat shrink on there. You have 2 branches, or 2 wires just splitting off to different branches. So you want to do this with the front marker, and so it's 2 wires for the front marker. So the front marker and the turn signals, I'm going to use the same wire. You just branch them off. So 1 brown, 1 blue, and then the high beam. Like I said, I just branched that off because one will go into the high beam, one will go into the low beam. But that's pretty much how I did it. So next I'll get started on the passenger side, do that, and then get all these extra wires out of the way, and probably put some connectors on too. So just working up front for now. I know I mentioned I was going to work on the back and do the switches, so depending on the length of video, I'll cover those too. If not, I'll just go over overview on them. But that's pretty much how I split the wires off, and why you want to leave a little bit of extra length, because if you cut it too much, if you have a little bit of extra, you can go back and try it again. Alright, so I thought I was going to have to run each of the grounds separately. There's actually a harness for it. So there's one for the front and one for the rear. Everything's already split off and labeled, so just plug everything in with the connectors, and then there's only 1 chassis ground for the whole thing, which is nice. So that should make it a lot easier. And with this, I'll probably reroute it through the wire loom, and it looks like the chassis ground comes out on, would that be the left side, I guess, passenger side. So make it a lot easier. Just put 1 ground probably here, and then obviously the other grounds from the motor and everything. But yeah, that makes it a lot easier. So there's one for the front and one for the rear. And then right now just working on separating the right and the left. So all the tail lights, turn signal lights, reverse lights, license plate, and the side markers. Have all those. And then these, I think one's for amplifier, and I think the other's for fuel and a relay switch also. So probably branch those off together. I do have another harness I got from a buddy for the sending unit, so I might use that instead of this. Just give it, I think it gives it more power or more amperage, so I'll look into that. And I think the activation actually goes into the Holly system, so if it does, I'll figure all that out and go over when I get to that step. But for now, just pretty much working on the lights. So I'll split those off, passenger side, driver side, or left and right. They have a label left and right. Split those off. Like I said, there's the harness for the ground wires already, so just one ground for everything, and then probably tuck those away somewhere. But that's it for this video. Once I get these all separated, I'll do the same thing. I'll tie them off with that fabric tape every foot or so, just to make it a little more organized. I did have to order some more 1/4 inch wire loom, so probably put another, or they're probably split off closer down here, so I'll start separating them down here a little bit. Yeah, so separate them down there, and then just tape them up so it's a little more organized with which way they'll go, and then I'll wrap them in the 1/4 inch wire loom when I get more in.